So this is something I honestly never thought I would be saying. Monsters Inc. 3 is officially in the works at Pixar. For years this has been rumored. Fans have been talking about it forever, wondering if Pixar will ever go back to the monster world. But now it's finally real. Major outlets like Deadline and Variety have reported that Pixar is developing a new Monsters Inc. movie, and I cannot believe it. I'm honestly so excited because Monsters Inc. is such a great movie. The original film came out all the way back in 2001. And it's still one of Pixar's most loved franchises. The characters, the world, Mike and Sully's relationship, and of course, Boo. It all makes one great Pixar classic, and people still love these characters and this franchise. So no wonder they're making a third Monsters Inc. movie. But this is the crazy thing. The franchise never got a real true sequel. The only other movie we got was Monsters University in 2013, which was a prequel. And yes, Monsters University wasn't bad. I actually thought it was a pretty funny movie, but it wasn't as special as the original. It was just okay. So now Pixar can finally go back to this world, make a real sequel to Monsters Inc., and make an amazing sequel. Monsters Inc. came out in 2001. Monsters University came out in 2013. And now, a new movie is on the horizon, probably releasing sometime in early 2030s. That is almost 30 years after the original. So yeah, this is definitely shaping up to be one of the biggest legacy sequels of all time, especially for Pixar. Now, we obviously have no story details yet, but I want to make some very early predictions to what I think / want this movie to be like. So my first guess is that a lot of time has passed in the monster world, because I think if you're going back to this world 30 years after the original, you have to have that time somehow equal or very close to 30 years. So I think a lot of time has passed, and Mike and Sully are pretty old now. They're not super old, but they're getting close to retirement. Maybe Mike has even married Celia now. I could totally see them being together all these years later, and maybe they even have kids. Sully is still running the company, but maybe he starts to feel that he doesn't have what he used to, and he's not as good as what he used to be, and he starts feeling maybe useless or lost his sense of purpose. And of course, there's one big question: Boo. Some fans really want to see Boo return, and some fans think Pixar should just leave Boo out of this story. Personally, I think I'm in the middle. I really liked the ending of Monsters Inc., where we saw Boo and Sully seeing each other one last time, and seeing Sully's look at the end there was really emotional. But I feel like Pixar is going to bring Boo back, because honestly, I think Pixar definitely wants to bring Boo back. Pixar loves to make emotional stories, and they like to make good stories, but they also want to get people in the theaters, and they want to make money off these movies. And they know bringing back Boo older in Monsters Inc. 3 will bring people to the theaters and will get them more money, because that's nostalgia. People have nostalgia for this movie, and to see Boo older and seeing what she's up to will make people emotional and want to go see this movie. So I do have a feeling that she will be brought back, but I know Pixar can deal with it the right way and not feel too nostalgia bait. And I think this is how they could bring her back. I think Boo could be an adult, and that she still remembers going to the monster world, but nobody believes her. And she spent years trying to prove it was real and trying to find a way back to the monster world. And somehow the monster world and human world connect again, and Boo reunites with Mike and Sully after all those years. That could honestly be quite an emotional moment. But another possibility that could happen is technology is starting to replace monsters. Maybe they have new ways of generating energy and monsters aren't needed anymore. Mike and Sully have to figure out how to save Monster Inc. There is honestly so many different directions Pixar could take this, but here's something really interesting. A long time ago, there was actually a planned sequel for Monsters Inc., and it was cancelled after Disney bought Pixar. And it was called Monster Inc. Lost in Scaradise. In this version of the story, Mike and Sully would travel to the human world to visit Boo for her birthday, but only to find out that she's moved away, finding a grandma in her bed. Then they get stuck in the human world while trying to find a way to find her. meeting other monsters that have been banished there. And then they finally find Boo. She's older and she doesn't remember them at first. Honestly, this sounds like it could have been a great sequel. And I think Pixar can still take some of these aspects of this canceled story to make the new movie. Because I really liked that story and I think it could have made a great sequel. And now, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, well, there was a show called Monsters at Work that was a sequel show to Monsters Inc. And will this be canon? I don't think Pixar will talk about anything that happened in Monsters at Work in Monsters Inc. 3. Just because, first of all, Pixar didn't even make the show. It was outsourced to a different studio. And the show wasn't even that good in my opinion, and I know a lot of people feel the same. I didn't really like it. I thought it looked really cheap, the story wasn't even that good, and it really was just very mediocre and not that good at all. I think Pixar will still count this show as canon, but just won't talk about it because they'll set this Monsters Inc. 3 so much into the future that really anything that happened in that show won't have any effect in the events of this film. Or they won't even count it as canon altogether. I'm not really sure, but I really don't think they will talk about that show at all. Also, I think this will be the first and last sequel to this franchise, because the voice actors, as sad as it may seem, are getting pretty old. And by the time this release, they will be almost 80 years old, because this movie won't release till probably early 2030s. So I think this movie is a good way of sending off these characters' stories once and for all, giving a great ending to this franchise, to these characters, and to these voice actors. Right now, it's still very early, because like I said, this movie probably won't release until 2030 or 2031, which is a long wait. But if Pixar does this right, it could be an amazing return to the monster world. So what do you think? Are you excited for Monsters Inc. 3? And what do you think the story will be? Comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest Pixar news.